All right. Kind of a gig deal. Welcome to, I don't know which episode this is because we've done a bunch. But I'm joined by Rory Lutz. Thank you for being here. We just met.
It's a pleasure. It's a minute, literally minutes ago.
Yeah.
I spent the last 5 minutes paying more attention to your dog than you. Apologize for that.
He's very cute. I don't blame you. But yeah, so you, well, first of all, thank God to hear the accent. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Queens, right?
Good.
And the older I get, the more I realize that there aren't a lot of people left who sound like this.
Yeah.
So now I understand why people think I'm from Massachusetts and shit, right?
Oh, you really?
And I used to hate like Boston and
Yeah.
I used to really, but now I understand it because there aren't many left to talk. And I don't understand why. Like, where did we start putting R's into words? Like,
Well, I knew it was New York immediately. I just wanted to know which borough because my parents are both from the Bronx, so they don't sound exactly like you. But I knew it was New York immediately, and like mine, people are gonna like say I'm faking it. Mine's gonna come out more because I feel comfortable hearing yours.
Oh yeah.
Because I learned in like, if you look at like, there's tapes of me in like home videos of me in like kindergarten, where my accent is as thick as my parents because they're the only people I knew. And then I went to school and I didn't unlearn it for like another couple of years because I went to school in Yonkers, and they would tell you to like, they told us like, don't sound like that. Like you sound like an idiot if you sound like that. So I thought all dumb people sounded like that. So I turned it off, and then I went to college in Maryland, and I had a linguistics class. It's the only class I liked. And they were like, yeah, there's no such thing as a bad accent. There's just accents.
It's just the way you talk.
Yeah,
bro,
they're like, it's just accents. Like,
yeah, I mean, I add bro to every other sentence.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that counts.
So when I heard that, I was like, when I finally felt like I could fucking talk like myself again. And yeah, it comes out a lot more when I'm with someone who sounds like it. But it was cool, actually. In the class, you're onto something, though. It is true. Fewer people sound like where they're from. And it's not so much, it's not like, I don't think it's conscious. It's not people like trying to be something they're not. It's everyone having the same media at the same time. So we're all hearing the same accent. So we hear the neutral American accent way more now than we ever have.
Because it used to be more centralized.
Because local news would sound like people from your town. Local radio would sound like people from your town. So everything was like, and also you wouldn't watch nearly as much TV 30, 40
No,
years
you would
ago
talk
as now.
to people that sounded like you, right?
All around the neighborhood,
yeah.
yeah. So you would keep your accent, and now we're so used to just hearing anyone from anywhere talk that it's kind of just blended into this neutral thing. But
there's also a lot of people not from New York. It's like,
well, yeah.
There's a ton of people.
Probably, I don't know if more than ever, but there's definitely more Americans not from New York
Correct.
living in New York, maybe than ever. But yeah, they showed like a map of England and all the different accents, and there were so many more specific regional accents in like the 50s, and now they're just gone. It's just like neutral
Just
London.
one, yeah.
Like you can go to some villages, and I'm sure you'll hear it, but otherwise, most people just sound like the same.
I get a lot of positive reactions from the way I sound. And
Yeah,
I find it funny because it's just like
Yeah.
fucking I would talk forever.
It's endearing, but I think people automatically think it makes you more authentic, where you're just being yourself.
But I try to be very well spoken at the same
Yeah.
time. So like the other day I was ordering food and I was intentionally just trying to be nicer, right?
Yeah.
And I turned to my friend and I was like, oh man, I'm losing my accent. He was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, he was like the most New York I've fucking heard.
No, it's a natural thing where like I used to do a bit about like it didn't surprise me that most people were suspicious of Fauci because like you just don't associate New York accents with like science. Like no one.
That's funny. I have a joke like that too.
Yeah,
and no one. My accent is the type of accent they use in movies to make fun of people with my accent.
Yeah, like you expect
yeah.
someone that talks like us to like come anyone, but like to come out of like a skateboard under a car. It's like I think it's the carburetor. Like that's what people think. Like if someone's like, all right, we're ready for fucking surgery. Like you're like, who? Like, who's doing surgery? Like.
Maybe that's why I've held on to it too, to like break the stereotype of people
Yeah.
that speak like us are not stupid, you know?
But I think that about any regional accent. That's kind of what I discovered is like I think that about Boston accents. I definitely think that about Southern accents, which means everyone else thinks that about everyone else's. It's just
literally, yeah.
It's just you're not from where I'm from. Fuck you,
I
dumbass.
mean, spoiler alert: Earth is full of people who just hate people.
Yeah.
For different reasons, dude. Like, you know?
Yeah. All right. So this is. I don't even know if I told you the name of the podcast. It's kind of a gig deal. It's all about gig economy, all that work. That you filled out that form, and I liked what you had to say. So tell everyone what gig work you have been doing.
So when you say gig work, you mean like odd jobs and shit?
Yeah.
Because I'm also a union electrician. Like
that's different, but yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
So like I do like a lot of side work when I can. I do electrical, I do paint.
Through apps or
sheetrock and what's that?
through any apps?
No, I try to do it mostly through like word of mouth at this point.
Yeah, that's the original paperwork.
Yeah, and also you don't have to pay taxes and you get to charge your going rate. But I'm experienced, so I get to do like real electrical work and paint. I get in and out. I'm one of those guys that's like experienced enough where I can quote a nice price and get in and out. Like I'd like to tell people, go ask 10 people how much it's going to cost, and I'll probably do it for half.
I'm good about that with timing a job. Like I do TaskRabbit and I move and I do a bunch of other stuff. But like with moving, as long as I ask the right questions and they're honest about it, if I'm like, how many flights of stairs, how many people are helping, what kind of big furniture do you have? Once I know all that, I'll be like, we'll be done in exactly an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
and they're like, what? And I'm like, we will. Like,
just no, after a while.
Unless one of them fucks off to get coffee. Like, as long as everything I know is true, this is exactly how long it's going to take. So that puts them at ease for like the price and stuff like that. And then furniture, I'm like, if you send me a link and I can see it, I know exactly how long.
How often are people honest with you about how much shit they have to move? I used to lie all the time.
Oh yeah, no, it's less now because I've just learned the way to ask the right questions. But beforehand, I would not ask, and just like an idiot, I'd show up and like, they said a few boxes, but there's 55.
Yeah, there's like 30 bags on top of it.
Yeah. And it's never like it's something that you always feel awkward complaining about because I'm still gonna do it. Like, it's not like this is too much work. My legs are going. It's not that. It's the fact that I have other jobs today, and I planned them around this taking this amount of time. Like every time I've kind of made it known to them that this is taking longer than I thought, they try and tell me like, oh, well, at least it's hourly. I'm like, that's not how this works. Like if I'm late to the next thing, I'm fucked. If I'm late to that, like there's people that have had like 4 moves in a day. It's the last day of the month. And the first job is just a liar who just lied about everything. Or they lied about being ready. Like they're still packing when I'm like loading the truck.
Yeah,
I can't load
what's the point? That you're going to show up, you're going to find out.
So I do that and I'm like, this is torpedoing my day. Like I can't leave until we're done, but I gotta leave. Like
it's like I gave this lady a quote a while back. I painted a whole apartment, ceilings, walls, everything. Right, it was a nice job. But I'm like, the only thing I ask of you is like you have to take everything off the walls and put it in the fucking middle, right? If you want me to do that, it's gonna be an extra day for every room.
That's how. By the way, I do that a lot. Where someone's like, "Can you? I'm having a painter come. Can you move? We've probably done the same apartment." I'm like, what am I doing? They're like, move everything 18 inches from the wall. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, whatever you want. You show up and they're fucking helping their kids with their homework and oops, like and it's. But it's you have to set some boundaries at some point, right? So it's like you told them. Move it off the wall, or I can't do it. And you show up and it's not on the wall, and you say, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna paint, but then you run into the not getting paid type of shit,
yeah.
which is where my voice comes in handy. Because most people, for some strange reason, think I'm tougher than I come off. So,
the knuckle tattoos help.
Well, they're like camouflage. They're like camouflage to real me.
When you see those, I'm like, okay, I feel like he's gonna call his Russian friends.
Well, I mean, in full fairness, like one of them's my son's name, the other 2 are vegan tattoos, and the other one is how fucking broken I am inside. So they're not exactly fucking. I ride a Harley over here, you know.
But no, I know what you mean, and also like I've had that issue about worrying about getting paid on my end, where like through the app. Through TaskRabbit, I don't have to worry about it. Like they can't even find me unless they put a credit card down on the app, and the app lets them choose people. So that's great. But then they'll have me come back. Like maybe I just build like their bed and their dresser, and then they're like, "Hey, my couch is coming next week. I got some nightstands. You want to do that?" And I'll show up. They do it just through their phone, and then I'm like, "All right, cool. This is the rate. This is how much. Here's my Venmo." And they knew about Venmo ahead of time. I'm like, "Yeah, all right, cool." And I'm like. Like, I had to start getting used to, like, I'm not leaving until you fucking do it.
Yeah, it's like, how do you, like, close that, right? And it's like, I just decided that, like, you know why the fuck I'm here. Like, I'm dead. Like, it's time to pay me. Like, and I also have no shame with the way I say things sometimes. And it's just like, the last thing I'm going to do is feel awkward about asking you. Right? And when I was younger, it was a different story. I would be like, oh, and maybe they're like, oh, can I just give you 120? No, like, you can't. You know what I mean? And then I watch videos about, like, my feed is filled with, like, construction and food. That's, like, my whole life and comedy, right? But you'll see videos of, like, people not paying, and the dude is literally smashing the living shit out of a brand new bathroom, and you're like, oh, now I understand why they do that. And it's like, I've never had to do that, so...
Yeah, like even the worst case, it's never it's never malicious. Like whenever someone's taken a while, I've always felt awkward where they're like, all right, yeah, I'll, once my phone's in the other room, but like, thank you, I'll Venmo you when I can. I'm like, great. And then it's been like 6 hours. I'm like, listen, if you sleep before paying me, you're never going to remember to do this. Like, please fucking pay me. Like, come on. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, maybe it's like something you have to say, like, right? Like, I need to be paid before I leave.
Yeah, and it's hard because like when it's not through the app, every time after that first time when it's not, there's no contract, there's hardly a conversation about what's about to happen. Like
maybe you just need to like fucking steal something and hold it for rent. Like, hey man, just in case you go look in your bedroom,
show me
your fucking TV's gone.
Take a picture of like me copying the key. I'm like, sorry,
yeah, something, right? Yeah.
That's the other thing is like I know where you live. I'm here. Like I don't lose the address.
Yeah, that's people make some weird decisions. You don't. That's another thing with like jobs like that, right? Like hiring. It's basically a stranger to come into your home with power tools and shit. It's like you don't know who the fuck these people are.
Yeah.
And like they might be the ones you want to worry about, right? You know what I mean? They're on the app, like they're not, for lack of a better term, like they don't own their own businesses. So like.
Yeah.
And then it's tough because then you have those people, right, that are mixed in with you guys like you who are
know,
great at it, and people it just turns into like construction workers or all animals.
Yeah, and it hasn't, I don't think, affected me too negatively, but there's been times where I've shown up to jobs and they're like, oh, you're on time. That's crazy. Almost like, fuck you. And I'm like, this is our first conversation.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then they'll tell me like, oh yeah, like every time I get a task rabbit, they show up an hour late. I'm like, sorry, but like that's not how I roll.
And you apologize for being on time.
Sorry for shitty people. I'm not one of them. We just met through a fucking through a phone. But also though, aside from like being late or something like that, every other tasker I've met, because sometimes when people do moving, they hire a bunch of us.
Yeah.
So I've worked with multiple guys many times. Like yesterday, I worked with a guy who I saw a month ago too, and he's great. Literally, they're all great. So I never remember anyone's name except the one fucking guy that sucks. Emmanuel, you asshole. His name's Emmanuel, and he's the only one I've ever remembered his name because I fucking hate him. He's the only
fucking
one
screaming at him all
the
day.
only
right?
one that sucks. You're taking like. Because have you done like moving things with
I'm moving all types of shit.
So you know that like when you move stuff, there's a telepathy. We don't have to like instruct each other.
You see it. You know, two people, one people, or one.
We don't have to inform each other of like, oh, I'm gonna move it this way to get down the stairs. But there's a telepathy. We understand how it's supposed to be done. At least everyone I've ever worked with, that's how it goes. He does not possess that fucking faculty. He does not have the telepathy. He'll just start picking shit up before you are even down there to grab it with him. And now it's uneven and it's falling over the place. Dude, I literally had to tell a client, this poor girl, this like really like nice, like rich Asian lady, who had like her own like influencer thing, was like Instagram living, like I got the task rabbits here. We're gonna rearrange my office in my home to be more feng shui, whatever. So we're moving shit around in our office, which is the easiest thing ever. Like pick it up here, put it down there. We're not even gonna break a sweat. And he's like scratching walls. He's fucking shit up.
Scratching walls. I love guys like that.
Scratching walls. He's picking shit up. Like he's just like juggling like loose pieces of like glass, like little knickknacks, stuff like that. Where like she's like looking at him like this, and I'm just fucking goddamn.
But you're hired separately, right?
Yeah, which like she found him, and then she found me. So like we're not a package deal.
But the risk is that like she'll lump the whole production together and then fucking give you guys all 1-star reviews.
Exactly. So
Emmanuel.
So if it's a bad if it's a bad experience, fuck, she doesn't give a fuck. This guy, fuck that guy,
she's furious.
Fuck you.
Well, she's just fucking influenced. She's waiting to do that.
So I'm terrified after the job. We close out. We were there. There's times where like I'll just charge less and hope that makes it go over. But we were there for like 3 hours, so I'm like, I gotta charge for this. Like this is half my day. So I charge. But in the thing, I write like, I hate this guy. I'm not like this guy. This has happened before. I'm so sorry. If I knew it was him ahead of time, I would have told you to cancel. I'm like, all this stuff. I'll literally come for free for an hour to build anything you need. Like, just please don't even give me a review. Just don't. Just sit on it.
Yeah.
And then she didn't do anything, and that was the most damage control I've had to do. That guy fucking sucks.
That's funny shit though. See, I've never done like I show up by myself. Like when I was moving, I hired some task rabbit guys to help me move, and like the one kid showed up with like edibles. I swear to God, bro, like he showed up with a whole bag of fucking cookies, and I'm like, oh, you brought lunch? And he's like, yeah, they're edibles.
Oh my God.
I'm like, now I'm this is where I'm at fault sometimes, like too cool. So I'm like, all right, fucking, well, pass them out. And then a fucking hour later, everyone's like staring at my art and shit. And like,
it's like they think because it's like legal that like, yeah, of course I can. I'm like, no, the same way I wouldn't show up with a fucking 6-pack. Like, all right, boys, let's get to fucking work.
I had a guy show up to my kid's 9-year-old birthday party with a 6-pack the other day. I only realized how fucked up that was until my girl said,
what was his role?
The parent of a kid.
Oh,
he's one of the fucking parents.
Thought he was like setting something up.
No, and he was the only one that fucking stayed too. Like, it was hilarious.
I don't know if that's if it's social. I think it's actually kind of.
It was in my apartment.
Yeah.
So you're okay in the 6-pack at the kid's birthday party?
If he brought it, it's not. What kind of beer was it?
It was like Angry Orchard.
Okay, so that's kind of.
It wasn't like he didn't whip out like a Foster's can and fucking shotgun it, you know.
But also like that's like, I hate the way that tastes, but it's like a tasteful beer where it's like maybe someone else, maybe everyone's gonna.
It had like
one,
pink in the label. That was like a friendly. It was like friendly.
But if it was just like Bud Ice or something.
Yeah, he shows up with Tall Boys.
Yeah,
right?
like Coronas. Then it's like that's for you. But when it's that kind of beer, it's almost like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Where like where he just maybe was like, maybe everyone wants one. Here's 6. Like
I don't get surprised often, but I was like, you brought beer, dude. You know, I'd rather you brought a bag of fucking edibles.
Yeah,
you know?
At least those look like treats. Yeah.
Yeah, the kid's probably.
But 9 is interesting because when a kid is like below talking age. The party's not for the kid; it's for the adults.
It's for an adult party.
So bring the beer, right?
100%.
But 9 is like old enough for the kid to be like, is he supposed to be doing that?
Well, then his kid turned out to be like a little on the sensitive side, right? So he turned to that kid. It was a Nerf war.
Okay.
I just invited 10 kids to my home, and they had automatic Nerf guns and firing fucking headshots everywhere. So his kid started crying, but now he's like borderline, like policing the party, and I'm like. It'd be way different if you didn't have just gotten 3 beers. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have a different opinion on you. Could borderline yelling at other people's children, but like, so yeah, it was a little weird.
Did you see Old Dads? It just
I tried to watch it.
Yeah.
It was a little. It just seemed a little forced.
I kind of agree. Where like I think a lot of Suits got in the way.
It seemed like. And again, I'm a stand-up comic. I'm a dad, so I really Bill Burr is like, and I love Bill. I look like him. It just seemed like someone's stand-up act, like it was a joke. Tag.
Yeah.
And it just seemed very forced, and like not. Don't please, like I don't want to ruin my shot at fucking open for Bill Burr.
I know
you know what I mean, but like,
I feel like we're gonna.
It seemed very forced, pandering on borderline, and I was like. It just rode one side too.
Yeah, there could have been nuance. And which is interesting though, because his act, people always forget this, and it's such a shame because anyone that doesn't like the movie for it being like out of touch is gonna be like, of course it was Bill Burr, but like people always forget, dude. In any hot take he has in a joke, he always gives an olive branch of like the other side.
He plays that line perfect.
Yeah, he always does.
It's just, and I shut the movie off before maybe they started to make fun of other people.
They sort of. I don't know that it did that. If you watch it, it's not as much of a spoiler. It's more that he sees himself he sees the older generation in a scene, and they're worse than him. So he's now sympathizing with younger people seeing him, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be that." Like, and then he kind of changes. But like, the only thing I didn't like about the movie is that they set up all these things where I'm like, "This better happen. This better happen. This better happen." And then they do, but after like the credits roll, and it's like so and so had this thing going for him. I'm like, I would have loved to see that scene.
What I'm saying. Like, you should have maybe launched something in the first 10 minutes.
There was like a character like you're supposed to hate that I fucking hate, and then the movie ends. I'm like, what happened to this character? And then at the end, he's like, oh, and then she got caught doing this. I'm like, great. Why didn't we see that?
Yeah,
That would have been an awesome scene to watch you like get that justice. But yeah, it didn't really happen. So I think. I don't know. It's tough to say because I think Suits got in the way of it and made things change. I think it could have been a little different, but it was. But I was interested to see how you felt about it.
Yeah, it landed really hard for me.
Yeah, like, but do you relate to that though in life about like are there parents that you're just like come on? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I live in Washington Heights. I live my neighborhood is like half Dominican and half Orthodox Jewish, and it's a very it's a melting pot, right? So, but it's also a part of it is very well-to-do, right? Like I
Yeah.
live a couple blocks from some people because it's right on the Hudson.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you go up off Broadway and
Harlem River Drive.
and yeah, you see some very clueless people. Like my kid takes taekwondo, and like I'm very respectful of like where we sit. I take my kids' bags and put it over there, and other kids they're letting the kids fucking run around with muddy shoes and shit. And like, don't you realize that this sensei is a black belt? He will fuck you up, dude. Like like there's no respect as far as like space because people let these kids run nuts and like it's.
There's an obliviousness, I think, towards even people without kids. Just it is a certain age group of like people just kind of not knowing that they're in everyone else's life. Like they feel like they're in this bubble so that they could do what they're doing. And I've kind of become zen on the subway, but like I'm still witnessing it on the subway where like the doors open and people are just standing. I'm like, get out of the fucking way.
It's really weird to like watch people just not give a fuck about like normal
so
shit. Like taking up space or being in a space or like pace. Like one thing for me in New York City, we used to have everyone on just pace, right? If you're walking because you have to get somewhere, you don't never just stop. And now they're just people stopping everywhere.
The amount of times I see people on their phone, which is fine if you're walking. The amount of times I see people just stop moving. They don't pull over. They don't, no fucking blinkers, no signs, just fucking stop. I'm like, I'm behind you. Like, I almost want to run into their knees.
I take a certain enjoyment out of, like, not moving out of people's way. Like, but there's also this line, like, who owns the line,
exactly,
right? And my line is, like, I'm paying attention, motherfucker. Like, like, if you look up, you're not going to walk into me.
Oh, man.
But I'm 195. You're going to... I'm not moving. You know what I mean? Unless I'm looking up, like I'm not gonna budge. So it's tough. Yeah. Walking in New York City is one of the hardest things to do. I haven't taken the subway in like almost a month. I bought a scooter. I gotta be honest with you, man. My mental health has skyrocketed.
It's nice
from not being on the fucking train.
So you're on the scooter, it's like the electric, but like the razor scooter, like you're standing.
No, I'm sitting down. I got a scooter that's like 37 miles an hour. It has a button that makes it sound like a motorcycle. All types of great shit. Like,
so that's I call that. It's not right or wrong. I call that in my head a Vespa because like the scooter is like you're standing. But a Vespa, like the
it's
Revel.
Like a moped.
The Revel. Moped, right? Yeah.
So it's electric.
Yeah, so the Revels, I ride those all the time.
Same shit.
My mental health. Like at first I accidentally mapped the way I drive in the city, which is fucking chaos.
Yeah.
Like my own dad was like, what? Like I picked him up from the office once, which is in like Midtown, and we had to go home to Yonkers. And I'm like yelling at everyone, and he like looks at me, he's like, dude, what's up? And I was like, look at what this guy. He's like, who cares? Are you in a rush to get home? I'm like, no. He's like, then just fucking drive. And I was like, I gotta do that.
It's tough to get used to being in the car and not like, I don't know. I'm the same way. It's like I'm going as fast as the car in front of me.
Yeah.
And when I hit that guy, I'm going around that guy.
Yeah.
So the scooter, I recommend highly electric scooters.
Yeah.
Man, they're fucking amazing.
When it's nice out, especially along, you must have done it a trillion times, along the river, is it Harlem?
Dude, I was taking Broadway for a while, and then I discovered Riverside Drive. It's not like I discovered it, but like just like decided to take Washington up to. Bro, I get from fucking 184th Street to 48th Street in Broadway in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
dude, I ran 6 red lights in front of cop cars today. In front of cop cars, I run 60 all day. And the first 3, I'm like, oh shit, they're coming to get me.
Yeah.
By the 5th one, I'm like, they literally maybe don't see me or don't care.
No, they don't know. Like you felt something because you know. At least on Revel.
Because I saw them.
On Revel, they make you take like a test that like you can't black out. Like you have to take it, and it's brain dead. It's like if you hit a woman with a kid, do you A, flee the scene, or B, call the cops? It's like, all right, it's just they have to do it, right? I get it, but part of it is like they're telling you like don't go on the sidewalk, don't go here, don't go there. Like you are a motor vehicle. Like treat yourself like a car. Stop at the light, stop at the stop sign, yada yada yada. So because I know that, I stop at red lights, but like no one else is. And I don't think the cops know I'm supposed to. I think they think I'm a fucking weirdo.
They look at you like you're the fucking loser, right? Like what's wrong with this guy?
So I think I can start going. But I've gone up Riverside Drive. It was a nice day, and I had a job in the Heights, and I'm like, let's fucking go. And I can't remember like the address or even the exact street, but it was like getting up to like the 180s, and it was slowly becoming the bridge where I'm like, I gotta get off soon. but now there's like a ridge of a hospital. Like, where the fuck does this road go that isn't the bridge?
That's Fort Washington, yeah.
At the last possible second, I'm like, I'm about to be on the George Washington Bridge on a little tiny 30-mile-an-hour. I'm going to get flattened by an 18-wheeler. And then at the last second, it was like, last exit before Jersey. I was like, fuck! And then I got into the street. Dude, my heart was pounding. I was like, I'm going to have to call a cop and be like, pick me up. Like, I can't do this.
I ended up on the Henry Hudson on that accident from like 59th to 79th.
Oh, shit.
Both Basin. Yeah, and it was I'm not doing 37, and there's people. I was like, oh, this is exactly what I've been trying to avoid for a month, bro.
Oh wait, actually, so how'd you get here then? Where were you coming from?
What am I? I'm working on 48th and 8th, so I dipped over 59th Street and basically 23rd Street.
Okay, yeah. So you went over did you go over that bridge that connects Long Island City and
No,
Queens?
I took the 59th Street Bridge. Right.
Okay.
Over.
So I went over that on a Vespa, and everyone was, because you're technically allowed to, and everyone was.
See, there's a fine line, right? The bike lane, you can't. If it needs to have pedals.
Yeah.
Like I almost got officially stopped with a cop,
Yeah.
and he was like, if it don't have pedals, you can't be in the bike lane.
Yeah.
The other rule is, you can take it if it is 30 miles an hour or less. So most roads you can take that scooter, except highways. Of course, you'll get fucking flattened, dude.
So I guess the bridge counts as a street, but everyone treats, there's no lights on it, so everyone just treats it like a highway. So everyone's going 60, and they're just killing me. They're like, get the fuck off the road! I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. That's fucking great. So what? Okay, so you've been an electrician in some capacity for how long?
I got my first job as an electrician when I was like 16.
That's the way to do it.
Then I did a bunch of other jobs, and then I got official like full-time electrical work when I was like 22. So
no college then.
I did a snuck. I wasted some money in college. Yeah.
It's
okay. It wasn't my money.
No, I wish, dude. You're saying what I wish I did. Like I went to college to find out that I shouldn't have gone to college, and I should have just done a trade because I like that work anyway. Like
yeah. But then I'm like, man, I wish I would have tried something earlier because by the time I retire, I'm gonna have 40 years, and it just seems like I used to think like saying I had the same job for 40 years was like a brag, and I'm like, oh god, I had the same job for 40 years.
Exactly. It's almost like saying like I never lived outside.
It's
anyway.
literally what I'm saying. I've never tried anything else. So now, like as I get a little older, I'm trying to fucking do the things I kind of wish I would have did when I was younger, like paint and comedy and fucking.
Yeah. How long have you been doing comedy?
Like 3 years.
Okay.
But I've been talking shit forever, so I think I do. But like officially 3 years, like second half of COVID, I started.
And then what do you think? What's been one of like? What do you tell everyone when they ask you like, what's the wildest shit you've seen like in someone's, or like has anyone gotten like electrocuted to death or like shit like that?
Yeah, those stories aren't as funny as you might think they are. I never watched it happen, but yeah, we've lost some people.
I guess this is dumb of me. I asked it in a way where I didn't mean workers. I meant like, did a fucking client ever walk in and be like, "Here's the light on"? Like fucking.
No, but like no, but sometimes they'll see like suits walk in and they'll get shoes and they'll slip or like fucking. Like, you have to be your head on a swivel because there's things that you don't see that are a little above eye level. Like, one time I was walking past some metal and it just sliced my ear almost off. And so you can watch some suits, like, come in and sit down on, like, wet paint. That's fucking always great. You got a $4,000 suit on, now his ass cheeks look like the wall, you know?
Nothing dumber than a suit and a fucking hard
hat.
My dad does project management for a construction company. And now, the last maybe 10 years, he's been... more in the office, but my whole life he's been in jeans and just walking around the field. And I remember one of those times he told us some guy came, some fucking bigwig, and he showed up and they're fireproofing all like the columns. So it's that fucking hose of just like big popcorn fucking material, whatever that is.
Monaco.
They kept telling him, don't walk. Like they're doing walkthroughs, and the guy's like, this is where we'll put the chandelier and all this shit. Everyone's like, don't walk right there, anywhere but right there, all day. And he's like, all right. He gets fucking sprayed in his suit, sprayed with fire fucking proof material. They get it off him. They break for lunch. They come back. A fucking minute later, he's like, all right, so here's what they get him a second time. And the guy's like, God damn it. Throws him off and fucking storms off. I love those. My dad's like the laborers can laugh because they're like kind of faceless, but like my dad's just like, fuck, like about to explode.
I love a good argument between like safety guys and like construction workers.
Oh yeah.
Like you you say we need to take safety seriously, but at the same time, let's use common sense.
Yeah,
right?
we're not robots.
I understand why we have weight limits to ladders and all the tell people not to go places because people aren't very smart sometimes. But like, you'll get like a safety guy come in without a hard hat on, telling you to put your hard hat on. And I gotta tell you, like watching like a fucking 58-year-old dude from Long Island argue with this fucking person, or like someone come in and they have like you have someone come in and they'll like have like crocodile shoes on. Like fucking talking about you about why you're drilling over your head. Like, are you fucking stupid? Like, you're wearing fucking sneakers right now.
Like, you're a hazard. Leave. Like,
literally, you're the fucking problem.
Do this over the phone.
Yeah, like
get out of this.
And they're also always like 24 years old, right? Out of college. And don't get me, we need engineers, we need
I know.
but like a little life experience goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I want to keep talking about that. We're gonna go into Patreon stuff, so we'll keep talking. But for now, YouTube. Rory Lutz. All right, Rory, tell them where to find you. Right?
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. My name is Rory Lutz. Type that in. I'm Funny Vegan Dude on Instagram.
Oh, that I want to get into too.
Yeah.
Right. And then any like shows, podcasts coming up. This will come out around before Thanksgiving, I think.
Okay. I have some shows coming up. I'm hosting Hilarity at Soho Playhouse.
Cool. Yeah.
November 30th. Surprise headliner.
Sweet.
Always amazing shows.
I love that room.
Yeah, I have. I run a production company called Last Stop Comedy. We have some shows in December. You can follow us on Instagram as well. I'm always doing, the bar shows. I do some spots I get at Broadway and Greenwich.
He's posting about it, so you'll see it. All right, that's it for us. YouTube, follow us on Patreon and get the rest of this because we're gonna keep talking.